Hey people, it's Kieran from the Run Testers here, and today I'm going to be looking at these. These are the Amazon Echo Buds, the brand new true wireless buds from the beast that is Amazon. Now, if we're being honest, these are not really first and foremost designed for running, but we're the Run Testers and we figured that some of you out there might be looking at going true wireless and thinking, okay, should I go AirPods? Should I go Amazon Echo Buds, or should I go for something that's a little bit more run specific? So we wanted to take a look at these and see how they get on the run. So we've been testing them and here is what we found. So first up, let's talk about the buds. Now, the Amazon Echo Buds are actually noticeably slightly bulkier than something like the Jaybird Vista or the Jabra Elite 75T, which we've done a video. Somewhere on the channel you can have a look at both of those. They are heavier as well by about 2 grams. These are 7.8 grams per bud, whereas the Apple AirPods, the Jabra Elite 75T come in at around 5.4, 5.5. So you can see it in the build actually. If you hold these up side by side, there's the 75T Elite, slightly out of focus, sorry about that. And here is the Jaybird Vista. So they protrude a little bit more. They don't sort of sit quite as neat in the ear as both of those. Another thing that you'll notice about these when you get close up to them is they're shiny. They're very shiny, and it's really interesting because what that means really, it's a small point you'd think, but they're actually quite slippy to handle. And I find these quite fiddly. When you think about some of the others that have ever such a slight texture, so that is the Jabra Elite 75T. There's a slight texture here and it makes them much more grippable. And when you're fiddling around putting them in and taking them out, that actually makes quite a big difference. What you get with the buds as well here, you get 3 different sets of gels. You've also got some optional wingtips, and that will come to you later in the fit, but that's a big thing. Let's talk about the case. So the case as well, compared to some of these others, is much bulkier. That is a chunky case. It's bigger, it's heavier, it's 70 grams than, even the Apple AirPods. You can see there's a discernible upscale in the size there. Compare that to the Jabra Elite 75T, and it's much bulkier. And there you go, Jaybird Vista as well. There's a huge size differential here on the case. And what that means really is on the run, this isn't really a sort of pocket stashable carry case. It's not really suited for a running belt like a flip belt or something. It's just a little bit too wide and a bit too big. And that brings about kind of questions of whether or not you be able to recharge your buds on the run if you're doing something like an ultra. I don't think that's what these buds are really for. And we'll come on to that a little bit more later. But yeah, in terms of the case, I think it's too heavy, it's too bulky, it's not really a running item. To be fair to Amazon, that's probably not what they're shooting for. But that's an important piece of information for us runners who are looking for something like that. So let's move on to battery life. You get 5 hours music per charge in the earbuds, and you'll get up to 2 hours with a quick 15-minute charge. So your rapid charge gives you 2 hours of playback time, which is pretty solid. And you get up to 20 hours in total with the charging case. So that is less than the Jabra. It's less than the Apple AirPods. It's slightly more in the case than you'll get on the Jaybird Vista, but not as much on the buds, which is slightly complicated. We'll flash up the stats on the screen just about here so you can see how they all compare. But it's solid actually. That's a really solid battery life from the Amazon Echo Buds. So when it comes to comfort and fit, I think that this is quite important about these. Again, if you can see here, the heft, the bulk of these is actually here. And actually there's not much going on the sort of gel end. So when you put them in your ear, they do stick out a bit, and it takes a little bit of positioning to get them into a place where they don't feel like they're going to drop out. Now, what I would recommend actually, I think my personal preference is to use the wingtips with these rather than just the gels. Fit is such a personal thing that you'll have to have a play around. And it took me a little while to find a combination of the sizes of the gels and the wingtips that would mean that I didn't feel like I was going to drop them out when I was running, particularly kind of fast downhill stretches. Once they're in, you know, they're not as lightweight as some of the other buds, and I think that's discernible. You are aware of them more, I think, than something like the Jaybird Vista. I also sort of noticed that they don't feel quite so secure when you go to, you know, tap and control the headphones themselves. So, you know, when I've got medium tips in here, in other headphones I would normally just use the medium tips and you can't really shake them loose. With these, you know, over time of running, I shake my head for a bit and I can feel them coming out. And there you go, it's gone. On the run, the controls are handled by these touch gesture controls. You can there's taps and double taps to control the various different things that the headphones do. There is a limit, you know, skip tracks, pause, summon voice assistants, that kind of thing, and take calls. You can customize those in the Amazon Echo app, and there is a limit to what you can do. I think you can only have 2 gestures on each bud. So you've got 4 different controls. I mean, if you're the kind of person who whacks your headphones in and runs like I am, then that's not going to be a problem. And actually the simplicity of that is quite a pleasant thing. There aren't too many things to have to remember about double taps and swipes and all of that. The other thing is when you take the earbud out, the music will auto pause. That happens if you start using both buds. If you want to run with one bud, you can, but it's really important that you have to start with one bud. If you're using 2 and you take the second one out and then decide to run again, the whole thing will pause. So one bud is only available if you start by using one bud rather than 2. But it's a nice option to be able to have one and save some of the battery life actually for later in a second bud. If you're doing something that's slightly longer and you want a bit of situational awareness, that works really nicely. On the sound front, the Amazon Echo buds have 2 key features that you'll also get in the Apple AirPods Pro and in the Jabra Elite 75T, but not in the Jaybird Vista. And that is active noise cancellation and a hear-through, so you can hear ambient sounds. 2 different settings. One if you want to block out the world, the other one if you want to let some of that in. The active noise cancellation we found really good. It worked. We tested these in some sort of high traffic areas in and around London, you know, big noisy train rides, that kind of thing. And yeah, it does give you a sort of cocooned, nice feel if you want to be alone with your thoughts or just have the music. The other day we took these out on a really, really windy day, and actually it helped to block out that wind and let us concentrate on the music that we were listening to. The hear-through as well, same. I think it's a really useful feature. If some people like to use bone conduction headphones so that they're more aware of what's going on around them. If you're running in an urban space, if you want to be able to hear people maybe talking, running next to you, that's good. And it does let a decent amount of audio from the outside in. So that's a good thing. That's up there with the Apple AirPods Pro in terms of actually having that feature. The sound, in terms of the sound, these are. I think you get nice, rich, good bassy sound. You can customize the EQ in the app, so you can change and tweak your sound as you like. You can't save any of the audio profiles as you can with some of the other headphones. So you can't say, this is my settings for the gym. This is how I like to have the treble and the bass for gym. This is how I like to have it out on the road. You have to just do it for that specific run, and that's how they stay for the rest of it. So that's a feature that we'd really like to see. I also thought that, you know, there was actually some real sort of clarity in some of the audio that I haven't had from some of the other headphones. So you've got a real sense of different aspects of the music, the layers in some of the tracks, which I thought was really nice for these. Sound I don't think is huge. It's the most important thing when it comes to running headphones. You know, I think there are other features that come top, but these do admirably well. There's a nice they're nice and loud, and they, you know, if you want to get a bit of punch for that motivational angle, then these do a very solid job indeed. One of the things I've wanted over the last sort of 6 months of voice assistants have gotten better are the voice assistants to actually do run specific things, like tell me how far I've run, or tell me how far I am to a certain destination that I might be going to, or even, you know, do clever sums like, Alexa, how fast do I need to run the next 3 miles in order to hit my PB, or, you know, those kind of things. I think that could be fascinating if these headphones started to pack in run specific tricks like that. They're not there yet, and so the Alexa things on these are all for, you know, call mum, you know, the usual stuff with Alexa. So if you need all of that kind of stuff, great. Not going to help you that much at the moment with your running, unless you think of things that you want to add to your shopping list whilst you're running. I also would like Alexa, take a note to save all those brilliant genius ideas that you come up with whilst you're running. You think you'll always remember and you forget. That'd be a nice touch. So let's talk about price. This is a biggie. The money. How much are you going to pay for the Amazon Echo Buds? $119.99. That is cheap. That is very, very cheap compared to $159 you'll pay for the Jaybird Vista. You'll pay $249 for the Apple AirPods Pro. 160 odd pounds for the Jabra Elite 75T. 190 if you want to get the Active T, which have just come out. And so $119.99, that is very, very reasonable for what you're getting here from the features. If you're looking for run-specific headphones, I don't think I would buy these. If you are looking for a set of headphones to use in your daily life that can cope with running, then I think they just about do it. They just about manage. They are not the most comfortable on the run. The case sort of lets them down in terms of taking that with you if you want to run long. But for an hour in the gym or moving from your office to run home on an hour commute, then I think they're worth a look for sure. So the Amazon Echo Buds with Alexa, $119.99, very, very solid true wireless buds, not specific for running. If you need a pair for your daily life that you can run with, good. If you're looking for headphones that will be good for ultras and running regularly, sweating a lot, doing marathons, I think you're probably better off to look elsewhere. But for 120 quid, there's a bargain to be had here.